Hello, I'm really excited and happy to be here, and quite nervous to talk on stage. Never feel really that comfortable doing it, but I'm going to give it my best shot. When Chemre emailed me or rang me and asked me if I would come and talk here, I was obviously thrilled to do so. And then she said to me that the topic was transformation, and I looked it up in the dictionary and it said dramatic change, and I thought about it for a while, and then I thought, what does it really mean to me? And I think to me it sat more comfortably as a kind of flowing, agile, moving forward way of working. And I'm not really, I wrote a few things down and then I know I'll never stick to it, and I thought I don't want to talk, I don't think there's anything that I could really say about the state of the food industry or the environment that you don't know. So I thought I'd just talk about what we're doing in a way on a personal and team level to contribute, hopefully, in a positive way. So I've never worked one of these before, so okay. So this is Spring. It's our restaurant in London. It's in Somerset House. I opened this restaurant in 2014, and I was coming up to turning 50, and it felt very much to me like it was the last third of my working life. So as we were looking for the site and kind of planning what it would be like, it was really important to me to think what did I want from probably the last kind of big push in my work life, and what was important to me in terms of what a restaurant represents. Here's more spring. More spring. These are just some food shots that I'm just going to kind of go through. So I think one of the most important things, the first thing that was really, really important to me was produce and working with really beautiful ingredients. And sorry, I'm just going to rush through these because, okay. I'm going to get to something that's, so this is what I wanted to get to. So I think I worked for 11 years at a restaurant called Petersham Nurseries Cafe, which was on the edge of, just outside of London, and we had 5 acres of vegetable gardens. And that started in 2003. So that was the first time that I'd really, really worked with like planning, planting lists and working quite closely with growing vegetables. And when I left Petersham Nurseries, I went right into the center of London, and I thought, how am I going to make that connection with the earth, with the seasons, you know, by seeing things growing around me. And in 2012, I went and spent a kind of quite a bit of time in California, and I visited a lot of restaurants that had relationships with restaurants that have direct relationships with farms. And I suppose the first and most long-lasting would be Alice Waters' relationship with Bob Cannard of Cannard Farm, and that's been going for over 40 years, which is incredibly inspiring. And I also visited Love Apple Farm, a farm that David Kinch uses at Manresa, and visited Thomas Keller and a whole lot of other farms. And I came back and I thought, I really want to have a relationship with a farm in England, and how was I going to do that? And the thing that was really important, I found Fernvero, which is a 16-acre certified biodynamic farm at the foothills of the Black Mountains. Jane Scotter, who is the farmer and the owner of the farm, has been farming biodynamically for 23 years. And so that biodynamic farming is a type of organic farming. It was, it comes from, it was designed and invented by Rudolf Steiner in 1926, and it came from literally one day, a day like today actually, a series of 6 lectures, and then the whole kind of movement began. And it's basically organic farming but by using the lunar calendar. And they believe, and I do too, having worked with them, that if you follow the lunar calendar and plant according, on special planting days, the food will grow better, taste better. And so this relationship, so the most important thing was, it's incredibly hard, I'm not sure how it is here, but for farms in England, it's almost impossible to sustain and make a living, small farms, especially small holdings. And so not only did I want to have beautiful produce and have access to beautiful produce and be able to determine what we grew, but I also wanted to prove that small farms could be viable. So Jane and I met, and she said to me, I said to her, I really want to work with you, and she was very hesitant at first, and then she said, okay, we can work together, but it's going to be very expensive. And I was like, okay. And I realized that good food, I mean, firstly, I don't want to sidetrack too much, but food is too cheap, and we have to acknowledge that. The food that we eat now and the way it's produced, the monocultures, it enables food to be too cheap, and we need to understand the true value of food. And so so anyway, just a really quick aside, because I don't want to run out of time, but the first time we did all the planting lists together, we sat together, we did kind of incredible Excel sheets and worked out that, you know, on the second week of August, we thought we'd have this many people in the restaurant, how many tomatoes could we take, how many leaves could we take, how many cucumbers, you know, all of those things. And it's our 5th year now, so we're pretty good at it. But the first year was really kind of crazy and off kilter, and we had a beautiful warm spring, which made for a huge glut of strawberries, and we thought we could take 30 kilos of strawberries a week, and we were getting like 100 kilos of strawberries every week, and it was a bit like, I always say to everyone, it was like being on a tennis court, and you know, the balls are coming at you with those ball machines, and you're just trying to hit them away. And but we've gotten much better at the lists that we write every year, and we write them in December for the following year. And it was really important. Oh, I just wanted to give you this as an example. So when we first got the list together and we saw everything, it's a lot of hard work. I just want to say that, because a lot of chefs can ring up service finishes at 11:30. You pick up the phone, you order whatever you want from wherever you want. And this way, you have to make the plan at the beginning of the year and kind of follow it and stick to it. And you've ordered all these things, and they're going to come at you, and you have to make sure you write a menu that's going to incorporate all the ingredients. But I think we had some marjoram, and I looked on the price list. She sends us a price list, and for a kilo of marjoram, it was £120. Now, I can ring up at 11:30 at night to a local. I could probably get a kilo of marjoram for about £12. And so I was like, Jane, this is crazy. It's so expensive. We kind of, I can't afford this. And anyway, we've negotiated down, obviously, since those times. But actually, what I really learned, I've learned over the years, is you buy the seeds. Most of our seeds actually come from America. America has some of the most beautiful biodynamic seeds in the world. There's somewhere called Baker's Creek farm particularly that does the most incredible heirloom varieties of biodynamic seeds. But you buy the seeds, they come over from America. You put them in tiny little trays, you propagate them, in a glass house, you water them for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They begin to grow. You take them out of the little pot, you put them into the earth, you water them, you weed them, you water them, you weed them, you water them, you weed them, probably for 6 weeks. Then we order them, they cut them, they lay them perfectly, and they drive them the 120 miles from Hereford to London. And all that process is about a 2 or 3 month process. And actually £120 for a kilo of that marjoram is still pretty cheap. And that's what I mean by the true cost of food. In a way, I don't think we ever really look into, you know, just how much is put into, you know, looking after beautiful produce. Anyway, so this is some of Jane's beautiful lettuces, auric. This is Jane's farm. She also grows flowers for us. So we have flowers throughout the year, and they're just sweet peas. They're amazing, cut huge. But actually, the more I've looked into things, the more I've also realized just the issue of sustainability in the flower industry, which is, this is some more of Jane's produce. Okay, so I just want to move on. So anyway, I'm pleased to say that, you know, our relationship has grown and developed and really enriched, and she's a huge friend and support to me, and I think actually she is one of the most important relationships in my life, definitely, because she allows me to work with a really beautiful palette. So anyway, we have made a commitment to take all that she can grow for us. And then we thought, you know what, like, we have so many beautiful things that come in, and we're quite an expensive restaurant. In some ways, I don't apologize for that, because I do believe that you need to pay properly for good food. But I thought it would be really lovely to allow other people to come, and how could we do that? And so we just, it was actually November 2016, but it says January 2017, we started something called the Scratch Menu. And the Scratch Menu runs between 5:30 and 6:30 every evening. And for £20, you can eat a 3-course meal, no dietaries, no choice. It's just whatever's left over for us. So it can be anything from, you know, like the shin of the lamb shank once we've broken down the lamb leg, made into koftas, or grilled outer leaves of cauliflower, pasta ends, cheese ends, deep fried. And this is all like examples of Scratch. We like to say it's not dumpster diving, so it's like beautiful, good food, but just kind of used in a more inventive way. And that's been really nice for me, because I don't write the Scratch Menu. I give it to all the younger chefs in the kitchen, and we do it on a rota, so everybody gets to write a menu, write their own little menu. We have a shelf in the fridge downstairs. We call it Scratch Shelf, and it's a bit like Ready, Steady, Cook. I don't know if you remember that thing, but you just find, oh, we've got a little bit of asparagus ends, we've got some carrot peelings, and I'm really pleased to say, as a restaurant now, our yearly waste is around 4%, and also doing this means we take all the seconds from Jane as well, so her waste is down to about 15% now. Then a couple of times a year we do something called Table, and Table is a kind of a community eating house, and sometimes we do it on all different things. We do it, it's always £15, so it's, this one's one that we did on food waste, and then every Christmas we feed the vulnerably housed in our local area, and we do a big Christmas supper for them, and we do it all from donations and food waste as well. This is some of the samples. We just pickle and save everything. And we do lots of things. We remill all our bread back to flour to make cakes. We take all the coffee milk from the coffee machine and turn it into yogurt and lubnies. We use all the coffee grains left over from the coffee machine on desserts. This is a part of example of Table. Oh yeah, sorry, I don't know how to go back. Maybe that. So those little eggs up there are called pullet eggs, and I don't know if you know about them or have them here, but they're the first eggs laid by chickens, which tend to be really little, and they don't fit the supermarket requirement for a sized egg. So they literally just hundreds and thousands of them get thrown in the bin. And that's down there as broken rice, so you can buy sacks of rice. That's the broken ends from the factory, which is so delicious because they're really tiny and they're creamy. Anyway, just more examples of Table. Skye was inspired and created. Oh yeah, and so this year, so we thought that we kind of nailed working with a farm. We thought we'd nailed food waste, and then in 2018, we thought, what can we do to make a change and move forward as a business? And so we challenged ourselves to go single-use plastic free. We have achieved that, which is amazing. When I first went to a talk by a wonderful woman called Sian Sutherland, and she runs an organization called A Plastic Planet, and I heard about about this, the situation with plastic in the world, and I'd never really thought about it, I'm ashamed to say. I knew there was a 5-bag P initiative in England, and I thought that was kind of a good thing, but I was sort of focused on the stuff that we were doing at Spring. And I was so shocked and appalled about what I heard, and I went home and I watched the Netflix documentary, A Plastic Ocean. I don't know if anyone's seen it, But I think the thing that was the most shocking to me was the little bird on the beach from the marine biologist, and they opened the baby bird's tummy, and inside there was something like 43 bits of plastic and no food at all. So I thought, what can we do? I became swamped. I got confused between what is plastic and what is single-use plastic, and everywhere I looked, I just saw plastic. So Sian sort of was really brilliant and held my hand through it, and she said, look, just take 6 items that you can get rid of. And focus only on single-use plastic. So single-use is a plastic water bottle, a plastic bag, the packaging of food, something that's only really used once and actually stays in the atmosphere for apparently about 11 minutes. So what you need to understand about plastic, and what I've come to understand, is it's the most beautiful, amazing. When it was invented in 1907, it was this incredible material. The problem is that only 11% of all plastic since 1907 has been recycled. The rest is in landfill. And so what we really have to think about doing is not recycling. I think recycling is one of those things that make you feel kind of, I know I do, I can like recycle my bin at home and I think, oh, I feel kind of virtuous and that I've done the right thing, but we do need to turn off the plastic tap. We have to stop using single-use plastic. And so some of the things that we did, we got rid of pens, and we used pencils. We had this really wonderful, beautiful skin soap and moisturizer in the bathrooms, but they all came in plastic, and they wouldn't do refill. They'd only do small bottles of plastic. So we had some ceramic bottles made, and we found a company. This is something called Who Gives a Crap, which is bamboo recycled loo paper. That was our hardest thing economically and financially, actually, to change. The one thing I just do want to say quickly, like with all the things that we try and do at Spring, the one thing I realized quite a long time ago, if you have an idea or a good intent, the most important thing that it has to be is economically viable. Because if it's not economically viable, it will be a dream that passes, because we have to make financial sense of the choices we make in order to make change. And so that was the most difficult of all, actually, was not buying the big loop plastic toilet rolls and that sort of plastic. But we did a 3-month kind of comparison test. Cling film. So that was, we worked out, I think the thing that we did first was we worked out, there's a timer somewhere and I have no long. Oh, okay. We worked out, we tried to put some stuff so we understood what we did. So cling film, we worked out as a business that we used 800 miles of cling film a year, and we did that by going back over our order sheets. And that's just one restaurant in London. There are 15,000 food outlets in London, and if all of them use the same amount of cling film that we did, that's 12 million miles of cling film a year in just one city, in just one industry. So we just went cold turkey. So we just stopped. We bought lids for everything. It's really crazy, and everyone says to me, gosh, it must have been the hardest thing, and I feel ashamed in a way because it was one of the easiest things we did. We just put our mind to it. We watched 21 Minutes as a team of the documentary of Plastic Ocean. We nominated everybody in the bar, ambassadors, plastic ambassadors in the bar, in the kitchen, in reception, in finance, and we brainstormed what we could do to change and offer kind of different solutions. But mostly we bought lids for all. If anyone works in restaurants, I don't know what you call them here, but they're full of things called gastros, which are like metal containers that we use for everything, and normally you just wrap them in cling film, or even if you want to boil a pot really quickly, cling film goes to over 60 degrees, so you can bring it to the boil and even put it in the oven. And we just bought lids for everything. We use something also called cellulose very occasionally, and beeswrap, which is a really beautiful alternative. We use jars. The only other thing is that any plastic you have that isn't single use, the most sustainable thing you can do is keep it in the system. So this is the plastic. All our veg come down from Jane, and It's a thick sheet of plastic, and the vegetables are so delicate. They don't like ambient temperature. They don't like the fridge. They basically just love being in the ground and then being eaten. And what we do is we wash all our plastic and we hang it on a clothesline. The same with, I'm not sure what you'd probably call them, but we have J cloths, which are blue and white cloths that you wipe everything with, and they're kind of one use, and we boil them all in vinegar. We call it J cloth rehab, and we boil them all in vinegar and reuse them over and over again. We used to have these, I thought they were paper, they're lined with plastic, like same with all coffee cups, and so we just had ceramic dishes made, and I think that's it.